Hi Sevda, this is Linda. Thank you so much for submitting your essay. Um, I wanted to go through this a little bit with you and give you some feedback, uh, audio feedback and visual feedback. So I thought it might be a little bit more personal and easier to hear what I mean. So the format looks pretty good. You've got your heading of here and you've got your title. And it looks like an essay. It's about 3 pages long, and that's nice. What I've done is I have highlighted in green the sentences or parts of paragraphs that I feel seem to go along with a similar theme or idea. So I think that was the first sentence here that I felt like had a bigger idea than just moving. And that is that you had to go through all middle, high school, and college to know who I was meant to be and how strong I was in that point. And then when you came down here, you said, I started to learn the things I can do if I just set my mind to it. Being good at things that make me happy has become one of my attentions. And then down here you say, so I started doing research on topics that might get my attention. And then you talk a little bit about, well, you talk about this makeup, learning how to do makeup and everything, which is really actually probably my favorite part of your essay because it's very detailed and I can tell that you know what you're talking about. What I don't know, though, is what you think is your literacy. I kind of hear two messages here. There, on the one hand, you have a very literal literacy in that you've learned a new way of life and a new language after coming from Russia. On the other hand, you have a literacy that you have developed in school as you have adopted new cultural ideas and lifestyle choices. And I think those are two different essays, to be honest with you. The part that's the most interesting to me as your reader is the part about makeup right in here, this paragraph right in here. When you start here, when I started to see, I'm going to use a different color here. When I started to see girls who look different with makeup and clothes, I felt I should do something too. I needed to change how I was to become in their group. So it's like here you've got this, that you have this kind of need for a cultural connection also. Or a desire, maybe it's more of a desire, not a need. And why is this important? Why is this important to you? And what is interesting is that you became really good at doing makeup and you started doing it for people, which means that you had developed a new skill and interest because of your interest in being more culturally connected. Those are two really powerful ideas that I think might be the source of your whole essay. And I would probably recommend that you focus more on that aspect of moving rather than the literal move itself and learning a new language and everything. Most of this narrative up here is just kind of walking us through what happened, which is fine. I don't think it's a problem, but I do think that your essay is a little bit short. The assignment was to do between, I think it was 4 to 5 pages. It might have been 3 to 5 pages, I'm not sure. But because this first part, the first page or so, really doesn't lend itself very much to your main idea, the essay really doesn't start until I start highlighting in green, like in terms of like what the message is. And so you probably have another couple pages that you could add to this. I also want you to keep in mind that you are required to write or create elements that are specific to the narrative, and those include dialogue and the use of strong imagery, like visual, sounds, smells, tastes, things like that. You've got a lot of great places for you to do that. Like this part where you talk about your mother, the food that you eat. You know, I never thought things can be so different in other places. Knowing that I never had anything besides home food, and tasting something outside of my comfort was so delicious. So this is a great sentence that you could add a lot of detail into. So instead of saying I never thought things can be so different, talk about what was the first food that you tasted? You know, what was that food? You know, and if you can't remember, then make it up. You know, or think of a favorite food that you have now that is so different from Russian cuisine. And really talk, you know, talk about your intrigue and love for your new culture. You seem like, I think coming from Russia must have been really, really hard, but it seems like you embraced the changes, that you saw this as a positive move in your life. And not only was the move good for you in terms of education and language, but also exposure to new cultural ideas and a new way of expressing yourself. And I think that's your literacy. And those new ways may come in the areas of fashion or in makeup or in the social connections that you have with others. And I think that's what your focus of your essay should really be. I'm glad we were able to get this straightened out about where the essay goes. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to message me. Thank you, though, for turning it in on time. I'll talk to you later. Bye.